The inquest into Newport continues. We preview Harrogate. Your mailbag questions get answered, and we have our weekly STFC Women update. Hello and welcome to Fools Rush In STFC podcast, and welcome to the panel who will have plenty to say on the weekend if our WhatsApp group over the last 24, 48 hours is anything to go by. Good evening, Woody. How are you?
Good evening. Just about got over the weekend for now, but I'm good. Other than that, how are you?
I am very well. Thank you for asking. Big time Ben, welcome again. You're actually here this week, not working.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I've got Monday evening off, which is a pleasure to be here and looking forward to some STFC chat.
And it seems you've bought Woody's Wi-Fi as well, which is nice.
Oh, am I going? Have I crackled up?
You did briefly, but you're back now. Never fear. Rich, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. Fifey, how are you all tonight?
Yeah, very, very good, thank you. Not an egotistical mug at all. I love the vanity, Woody. And last but certainly not least, Craig, good evening, pal.
Evening, Fifey.
Needless to say, you've all had a lot to say since about 5 o'clock Saturday. So now's the time to let it out to the wider public. Let's start straight away with the game and let's look at the performance itself before we look at specifics, whether that be personnel or aspects of the game. Woody, I'll start with you. First one on my screen. Overall view of the game?
You can't start with me. We haven't got to 3 minutes yet. So if you can just...
I was going to say, Ned wouldn't be happy either.
No.
What, because we didn't start with you, Rich?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm quite glad you started with me. I'm not bothered. I'm quite glad you started with me because I'm normally last on these, and often everybody else has said what I'm thinking. But yeah, it just wasn't very good, was it? It was. I think we said off air. We probably started brightly. Newport came at us a little bit for the first half, but not probably less than I thought they would, but they did open up against us. They came with a good game plan. They came with the kind of game plan where they could attack us without counter-attacking, but also set up well defensively. And I think I mentioned that in the last call that, what's his face, Newport manager, I can't remember his name now, but I said that it wouldn't surprise me if they can find out a team can find out a way of how to block us as well as attack against us. And I think he almost found the best way. I think there was a lot. I don't really think there was anybody who can't take any blame for Saturday. I think is probably the fairest way to put it. I think there's players that need to look at themselves after Saturday's performance. Garner needs to look at his subs that he made, in my opinion. And we had a bumper crowd there, and it's how many times now are we going to have a bumper crowd and not perform in front of it? It's and I think that was my major concern. I think it was 11,000 there, minus a 1,200 from Newport. So you're nearly knocking on 10,000 Swindon fans. And I have to take my hat off to every single Swindon fan who wasn't a regular goer beforehand, because we haven't been very good at home this season, even though it started to pick up a bit. Fair play to those people that have parted way with the 25 quid or whatever. People like us on the panel, we go every week because we love the club, and we've seen the highs and lows, but fair play to them. I think the only thing, we could look at the goal, we could look at Woolacott and the goal and stuff like that, but we should have had the game wrapped up before then. I think we should have had the game wrapped up in the first half, to be totally honest, because we didn't really do much in the second half. I think we had one shot on goal in the second half, that's just not good enough. And the annoying thing is, and I've probably split opinions on the panel and on social media on this, the annoying thing is when we're not scoring goals, the first person that everybody immediately looks to is the striker. Now, this won't be a popular opinion, but for me, and I had an argument with somebody in the Don Rogers on Saturday about it, Davison was our best player on Saturday. The only thing he was missing for me was a goal that was allowed. But then that's what that's what strikers are there to do. But yeah, no, it was. But I think that game, and I think Rich might have said it. I can't remember who said it on the panel last week out, but that was a game where we needed our best players to really step up. And to be honest, I actually think some of our best players were our weaker players on Saturday. I think, Yandelo had a good game-ish. Davison, again, he was my player of the match. Baldry, I thought Baldry did the job, to be honest. I thought we always have this hesitancy when Baldry's in the lineup, yet he's, in both games that I've seen him play, or the few games I've seen him play, he's probably been our strongest defender. But yeah, it's just disappointing because it really puts a hiccup in the process. I'm still optimistic, but it puts a massive hiccup and it puts a lot of pressure on us now.
Well, some of the aspects you've touched on there, we'll come on specifically to in a minute or so, because I've taken as many of the individual comments you guys made on WhatsApp, plus some that I've seen of interest on social media to really focus the discussion. But let's carry on looking at the game in general. And Craig, if we were to blame Ben for things like Crawley, which we have done on numerous occasions, it's fair to say that really we should put the blame on you for Saturday, because every time you turn up, Swindon don't.
Yeah, I mean, I was the only one who predicted for us not to win on Saturday, and we didn't win. I mean, I thought we'd draw, and I didn't see the defeat coming, but yeah, I'll put my hands up to that. Like I was saying just off camera, I think I'm gonna have to put in a self-imposed ban for the rest of the season. Although by the sounds of it, I don't think I'll be missing out on much. But there we go. But yeah, I mean, like I agree pretty much with what Woody was saying. It was a weird game. I felt that second half just seemed to pass us by. It was so strange. But I was saying to my lad who I took with me, like that first half, I felt we were so much better than Newport. We were so much the better team, and but that's the thing. We go in 0-0 at half time with all that possession and nothing to show for it. And this is an issue here. I've done another little Ned report, but if you look at the 62 goals we've scored this season, only 14 of them have come in the first half. We need to start putting that ball in the back of the net in the first half. And then we might be picking, especially at home, then we might be picking up some bloody wins. And our average time of the first goal we score is in the 50th minute. And the average time of the first goal that we concede is in the 41st minute. So clearly there is an issue there. And I think that's the key to, why we are dropped out of the playoffs this season.
And it's a great point, Craig, as well, I think, because we talk about Garner and his stats and how much he loves his stats. It makes you wonder whether he's looking at stats like that. Because, sorry, I'm not going to invade too much, but you look at, like, we don't really score that many. We scored some late on, but we looked tired towards the end of the game on Saturday. And, stats like that shout it out to me. And then when you think that he said we created loads of chances, 12 shots on goal in the whole game is not creating loads of chances, unless I'm thinking of some magical stat that I don't know about, like expected chances that could have led to expected goals, that could have led to expected
goals.
Yeah, but it's not just quantity though, Woody. It's quality, isn't it? How many of those chances were clear cut? It's I feel sorry for Davison, like you said. He was causing the Newport back four. He was really hassling them and causing them problems. They hated defending against him in that first half, and then pretty much like the rest of the team, he sort of faded in the second half, unfortunately. And but yeah, and our fans. We're probably no different to any other football supporters of football clubs. We like a scapegoat, and Davison, as well as Conroy, as I'm sure we'll go on to in a sec, was also one of them. But yeah, it wasn't a good performance. And all right, Newport were lucky, to get to get that goal at the end. But you make your own luck in this game, and I'm sorry, but possession, as good as pretty as it looks, it doesn't always win you games. And Garner's, I'm not a Garner out person. I want to see him, given the chance for next season, but he's got to show a bit more flexibility tactically. And if and he's shown that he can do it by changing formation. I know formation's different to tactics and style of play, but he's shown he can do it. We were praising him earlier on in the season when he made some changes around half time or early on in the second half. He's got to show that he can, as well as being a good coach, that he can be a good manager.
So it's a very good point. And just picking up on yours as well, Woody, about Garner and stats and whether he's looking at that kind of thing. We know that someone in and around the coaching team is definitely keeping an eye on what goes on at Fools Rushing, because the minute we start discussing Parsons is the minute he doesn't even get on the subs bench anymore. Anyway, back to matters at hand. Rich, what were your thoughts?
Obviously, it was frustrating, I think, for everyone. But
you promised off camera you were going to be the positive one on the panel. I remind you.
Yeah. No, I don't think. Oh my God, what goal? Sorry, I was just watching the Huddersfield.
Not very professional, Rich.
Nice to know we've got you focused, mate. Massive Huddersfield fan, aren't you? We've got rid of the Cheltenham fan.
That's I think why we get bad reviews, Rich. Are we 3 minutes in yet?
Bob's gone. He's done one now. That's it. He's writing a review right now. Sorry, Bob.
Please send your complaints to.
Yeah, no, sorry, what a goal that was there. Yeah, no, listen, I think
sorry, no, that's one hell of a goal. Carry on.
I don't think we should be dwelling on this loss too much now. I think we've just got to look forward. We've got 2 important games back to back, very, very close on. Harrogate on Friday, Leyton Orient on Monday. And you know what? We're still in this. I know I get from the tactical side of things and the way that we're changing and the subs that we're bringing on. But, Saturday to Friday, I know it's shorter than it would be from Saturday to Saturday, but if you look at it, a lot of our games in the last couple of months have been Saturday, Tuesday, whereas Ghana's not had the time to maybe potentially change things around too much. I know we had that 2-week break and we haven't had a win to see since then, but I think with players coming back now, I know a lot of people gave Gladwin some stick on Saturday, why they brought him on. Woody, I was going to look at you there, but I feel as if that it was important that Gladwin was given minutes. Okay, potentially it would have been more ideal if we were winning the game, but Gladwin we've seen that Gladwin can change the games. And I don't think it was a bad substitution. I think everybody knows my views on Mitchell Lawson by now, that I'm not exactly too keen. And I think he's proven that. That was my watch, by the way, Fifey.
Thanks.
And but I think we've got to look at Harrogate now. Potentially players coming back. Hopefully, we get Harry McCurdy back. I think a lot of people as well saying that he's not going to make a huge difference. I think he'll make a significant difference to our team. I think it's clear that Payne and Williams can't work together because they're two very similar players.
Have Swindon Town fallen into the old school Gerrard and Lampard can't play together category?
Yeah, but I disagree with you there, Rich, because to be fair, Payne can stay on his feet a lot more.
Yeah, that is very true, Craig. That is true. But, also, I think from our perspective, the way that they're playing, like one's playing on the left, one's playing on the right, they're both very direct players. And I think we've seen that from Johnny Williams this season, that he likes the ball at his feet, he likes to dribble at players and through the middle, and he likes to use his wingers. Whereas Payne's very similar to like that. He likes to drive as well. He likes to drive at defenders. And,
who'd you drop then, Rich?
I'm trying to think of the team now.
Out of Payne and Williams.
Out of Williams and Payne, I would start Payne and bring Williams on as an impact, personally. But another thing that I've picked up from Garner as well, he's turning into a little bit like Mark Cooper now. He's leaving his substitutes extremely late.
Oh, hold that.
I don't know if anybody picked up on that, but
Hold that thought specifically, because I've brought up one of the topics to speak up specifically about is substitutes. So hold that thought.
Oh, okay. I haven't. Yeah, yeah. He left his subs very, very late into like the mid 70th minute on Saturday, and he's done that. He did that against Rochdale as well. And I'm just like, and Crawley actually, to think of it, I don't know what he's doing. Like, you know, make the substitute. I mean, if we're drawing a game, because we were drawing within the 60th minute mark at Crawley, we were drawing. Obviously, we
exactly
drew
what Woody
against
said
Rochdale,
last week.
and we were drawing against Newport until the 90th minute. So
it was clear. It was clear by the 60th minute that nothing was happening.
We needed to make a
against
change.
Newport.
You could see that there was players flagging out there, and I feel as if that Garner just wasn't. I don't know if he just wanted to keep the game as it was. I don't know what he was doing. So, you know, but like I say, I have faith that Garner can turn it around. We've seen him do it before. He's done it before this season where we've been on a bad patch. So I feel as if that now, I think now is the time to do it. We've got a few good games coming up. A lot of the teams that are in and around where we are playing each other. Like, I know Friday's a big one where a lot of teams are playing each other, and the same with Monday. So, you know, the ball is in our court now. That's all I can really say.
That's
the ball
fine.
is
No,
the ball is in our court.
that's more than enough.
Yeah.
Ben, let's bring you in on the performance specifically, if we can.
Yeah, my point of view, really, I was really quite happy at half-time. I thought that Barry had the left back on toast, and he couldn't really take him out, although he wanted to, because he would have got a second yellow. I thought Williams had probably had his best game at the counter gun that I've seen him play during the first half. And half-time, I messaged the group at the time, I'm really quite happy with this so far. I think this is going quite well. But it stopped after 60 minutes. We lost our intensity, and we sort of lost our way a little bit. And mentioning Garner and the substitutions. Garner and the substitutions. What disappointed me is he downgraded. Like, Aguilar's a downgrade of Payne. Mitchell Lawson's a downgrade on.
Isn't that the reason they're on the bench? Then?
No, it is the reason why. It is the reason why on the bench. But you bring it on when something's not working. You change it up. I'd rather have seen us go to maybe a 5 midfield, just because it's going right. This is 4-3-3. It's stale. They've got us sussed. Rather than buying worse players on, why not just go to a 5 midfield? Get Egbo and Tomlinson, as attacking wing backs. Try and get around the back of them, and just give them something else to think about. Because at the moment it's stale. It's gone. This game's petering out into a 0-0. Eventually, we end up shooting ourselves in the foot. But he didn't. He just stuck with 4-3-3, and his in-game management wasn't great. And he just bought on players, and he bought on worse players and expected us to play better. And it doesn't work like that. So we ended up paying the price for it. That's my point of view on it. But first half I thought was great. But yeah, it tailed off second half. And I don't blame any of the players. I sort of blame Ben Garner a little bit from not recognizing that it's not working and changing it. We need him proactive, and he wasn't.
Okay, well, let's talk about that being proactive, because the first specific topic, and Woody, I know you're going to really want to have your say, so I'll let you kick this one off again. Rich already kind of led you in. Let's talk about the substitutes, because I mean, you had a lot to say about the timing of the substitutes, who came on, and how well they played. So do you want to kick off the topic specifically on the substitutions?
Yeah, I think it's only fair that, I address the Gladwin substitute first, because that's the one that angered me the most. Now, I think because I don't need to sound fickle about this, because I've pretty much said every episode that I don't think we've had the same Gladwin this season that we've ever had before. I think I kind of understand why we would want to give him minutes, but we were 0-0 in a game that we must win. I'm sorry, if you're injured, it's not the type of game you bring somebody on to give them minutes. You bring on somebody who's going to have an effect. And I just think that what he's done there with the Gladwin substitute is just mess around with things that were working. like I said, I thought Yandelo was having a really good game in the centre of the park. And he's then put him out to left back, and we all have our opinions on what Yandelo's like at left back. He's got Egbo sat on the bench, an attacking option who has now had a few games, and probably could do that 20 minutes, half an hour. And then he's brought on Gladwin, and I know I probably sounded overcritical on Saturday, but he didn't complete a pass on Saturday. Like, regardless of whether you're fit or not, he's a professional footballer. If you come on, I'm expecting you to at least be able to complete a 5-yard pass. He gave the ball away that he hung on for too long, which led up eventually to their goal. Because I just think that kind of substitution are subs that will lose us games. Because if that is the reason he's brought him on, then it's the wrong decision. If he's brought him on because he thought it was going to do something different, I'd like to ask him what he thought he could do different to what Yandelo was already doing, because Yandelo was a lot more effective in that position than Gladwin was. And why not bring on an attacking fullback in Egbo, put Hunt over onto the other side, because we know Hunt can play left back, and go at him that way. Mitchell Lawson, we've already commented, I don't agree with him coming on. I've said before, I don't think he's good enough, but he seems to be kind of, I can't remember. There was a player about 6 years ago who used to always come off, a bit like Blair Sturrock in some ways. He used to always come off the bench, no matter what the scoreline, no matter how we were doing. He's just one of those players I think we're just always going to see come on the bench now. And it's a shame because, like I say, with him, it's just ability. He works hard, he's just not got the ability. And I can't remember who the other one was. Was it who went off? What was the other side?
Payne went off for Agua.
Yeah, I mean, is that?
But Payne looked knackered, didn't he?
Yeah,
he was off the pace, wasn't he?
And that's a straight swap, really, in the grand scheme of things. Maybe that could have been the Gladwin sub. I don't know, but yeah, that for me, I think when they made the sub of bringing Gladwin on, because I saw him warming up. Egbo warmed up, and I saw him. I went, "Oh, brilliant! Tomlinson's down," and I thought he's going to bring Egbo on for him, and that made sense. And then all of a sudden he brings on Gladwin, moves around the formation, puts an attacking minded midfielder to fullback, and it just messed around with it. I just thought that 0-0, we need to we want to give a creative attacking intent, and then obviously Gladwin matched it. Unfortunately, again, could be a bit of a cop out, but matched it with me for probably the worst 10 minutes I've ever seen him play. So yeah, it may sound harsh. I'm quite happy to open it up, but at the end of the day, find me a completed pass that Gladwin made on Saturday. And regardless of whether you're fit or not, if he's not fit enough to be able to complete 10 minutes of football, then he isn't ready to play football. So he shouldn't have come on.
What I would say about your comments this evening is they're certainly not as harsh as they were on WhatsApp on Saturday.
I was angry.
I won't divulge the full transcript, but there were a lot of comments specifically about Gladwin and his all-round performance, and that you made that you haven't necessarily made tonight. But I think you've made your point.
He's a 75-25 player. I've said that all season, and I'm not going to change that.
I believe you referred to him as a 0-100.
He was 0-100 on Saturday. But for me, he's 75% ineffective. 25%, he might work some magic in that 25%. But I'm sorry, Garner, he was the wrong substitute on Saturday.
Does anyone else want to discuss the substitutes from the game, timings, who they were, and how they affected the game?
I mean, I was just going to say, I think the reason, obviously, for Gladwin coming on was probably just because we wanted to go a bit more direct. Whereas, obviously, Egbo should have come on. Mitchell Lawson, we don't know where he actually plays. At least Gladwin, we know where he is. He plays centre of the park. Okay, he might not have been 100% fit, but that's down to Ghana. Okay, and that's down to the medical team to evaluate and make sure that his fitness is enough to, like you say, Woody, play at least 10 minutes. And if he can't play 10 minutes, then no, he shouldn't have gone on. And that's Ghana's fault. And if he wasn't fully fit, then why was he on the bench then? So, for him coming on, I don't think was a bad thing from my perspective, in hindsight, because I feel as if that we needed to be direct. we needed to get balls into the box and get Davison on the end of them. Whereas I think now in hindsight, and I think hopefully Garner realizes now that was probably not the best situation, and he should have known that himself. So, but yeah, no, I agree. Egbo probably should have come on just for pace on the wing, especially considering Tomlinson did go off. That was just the ideal substitution to make. Change the formation if you have to as well. Maybe put Yandalo left wing back, Egbo right wing back, and put Hunt, Baldry, and Conroy in defence. You know, we are chasing a goal, and I know we've given stick for Ghana for going 3-5-2, but also I feel as if that I think we had the attack in front on that game as well. So, and we had the possession to back it up. So, bringing Gladwin in and then changing the formation to a 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, or however you want it, and having Egbo on the wing, you know, I feel as if that there potentially could have been a goal there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, and that would have been the ideal situation. That's how it should have been. But I just don't think, I think, number one, he left it too late. So changing the formation probably wouldn't have had too much of an impact anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're changing it on tired legs.
Exactly.
As well.
So it just doesn't work. So, you know, and I do put that down to Ghana as something, but like I said, I know he can change it around, and I hope for him, he's still very early on in his coaching, senior coaching career, because he's only had Bristol Rovers before Swindon, and he only had half a season there. So he's still very much, you know, learning day in, day out, the squad.
First full season for him.
First full season, exactly. So he's always going to be learning, and he knows he will have to take the mistakes that he's made. Yes, it was a crucial game for us, but at the end of the day, it's not over yet. So I know for a fact, hopefully Friday, you know, he'll learn from the mistakes and, you know, move on.
That's it. It's just like we didn't give the Newport manager anything to think about in the second half. We didn't give him a problem just to go, right, I need to change things up here. Or they've given us a different set of problems to deal with, where if we had gone 5 and we've gone 2 up top, their best, you know, if I'm a Newport fan, I'm loving the fact that Jack Payne and Barry went off. I'm loving that because Barry's final ball was wasteful. We all saw that, but he had that player on toast. And if he switched to up front, and if he's running at centre backs, and Davison has actually got someone next to him that he's never had, or since he's been here, we might have seen, you know, him perform better as well. It's just an opportunity missed, and I think that adds to the frustration that the game at halftime was there for winning, and we somehow managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. To quote a good old DB's.
Oh, Ben, we love a cliche on here, mate.
Clang.
We love a cliche. Brilliant.
Okay, let's move on to the next one then. And Craig, I'll let you open this one up if I can, because I believe both you and Woody used the term scapegoat during your initial analysis. Someone else who's always made the scapegoat for anything negative is Dion Conroy. And unsurprisingly, he got a lot of flack, particularly for the own goal, but generally because we lost, it must have been his fault. It was the general consensus. Now I'm intrigued on your thoughts on this, but also, and this is for you guys and for anyone watching, listening, if you haven't seen this, I also put out a tweet from our socials earlier today. And Muttley replied saying that he's getting a lot of stick for slagging off Conroy, with some saying that he should remember that he stuck with the club in the summer without pay. Is he wrong for saying that Conroy should go? And there's been a couple of interesting replies that I've been following. One from George Bishop saying, I think it's maybe time for a new chapter in his career, but since coming back, he's probably been our best player. And another one agreeing that maybe his communication and leadership isn't up to scratch for being captain, but as a technical player, he's more than good enough to be in the squad. So, Craig, again, I'll let you start. Your thoughts on Conroy's individual performance and his place within the squad?
Well, I thought he had a good game on Saturday. Him and Baudry linked really well. He was anticipating the ball coming forward. He was closing down the Newport attacks really well. He was frustrating them. You can tell he could, like one of the comments there. He's technically a good player and he reads the game really well. And I think we got to remember this is his first full season fully fit as well. So has he been a brilliant sort of League One level player? No, but I think he's been good at this level. He's had bad games, yeah, but so has most of this team. And it seems like the criticism stemmed from the own goal. Well, if anybody saw the replay of that goal and still thinks that Conroy was at fault, then I'm watching a different game. I think as well, but looking at it, it looked like he lost his balance as he was going to stretch for it. So it looked like the ball took a long time for him. You thought he might have reacted quicker, but I think he did lose his balance, and obviously he ended up knocking it into his own net. But then again, you have to look at the lead up to that goal in the first place, which wasn't Conroy's fault. So yeah, and I think has he been brilliant? Has he been brilliant for us this season? No, but I think he's been decent, and we haven't got many other options at centre back. So, and the most important thing for me is that he's getting a full season where he's been relatively fit. When at the end of last season, we were saying, not myself, but many were saying we should let him go. He's injury prone, but I think the whole thing, because he stuck by us, we shouldn't criticise him. No, if he plays badly, nobody should be immune to criticism in my books, but it should be fair. And I think, I don't get it, to be honest. He's got his own song, the Dion Conroy song,
which we didn't even sing when he scored the winner against Oldham.
In Cheltenham last time I heard that, though, it was quite a while ago.
I don't get why that's all changed all of a sudden. I don't think he deserves the criticism that he's had. Has he been brilliant? No, but he's been a solid 7 out of 10, I think, for us this season.
I remember he was one of the most popular players at the club a while ago. I remember when he first dyed his hair and he signed a new contract, and everyone was over the moon that Dion Conroy was staying on. He's a proper. I think right now he's earning his contract for next season. I hope they do offer him one. He does get unfair stick because he gets scapegoated a lot because he said things in the past, like trust the process, when he did that sort of thing, and playing probably through the pain barrier when he's not been fit, and that's affected his performances. And there's times when he's played through pain and he's looked it just demeanor looks like he's disinterested. But
sorry, Ben, I forgot to say, there was times when he was fit and he could have played under Sheridan, and Sheridan didn't play. We forget about that, and so he's
had to mention
through
Sheridan.
Yeah, well,
No, it's I'm not going to keep mentioning because I'll just become a parody of it.
Sorry, Ben, I've set you off now, ain't I, mate?
No,
Sorry.
I'm not going to keep. I know
50p in the Ben meter.
I know Claire keeps goading me to talk about Sheridan all the time, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not.
Yeah, sorry,
I'm not
Ben. Yeah, I just remembered that, so I just thought I'd put that.
Yeah,
out.
no, you're right to, but no, he just. I've always had a little because. He was rated by the fans, and he got some stick, and I'm hoping that, I'm hoping he signs a new year, and I hope he stays on because he's good enough, and he's good enough to be top end of the division. I'm not sure if he's captain material, but I'm sure that he deserves to be another deal.
Rich, Woody, do you want to jump in on this one?
I like Conroy. I've always supported Conroy, even through the stick that he got during the start of the year, around January, February time. People were saying that he should be dropped and everything like that. I've always backed him. I'll continue to back him. I think he's definitely one of those players where, like you say, it is his first full season fit with us. I think only now we're starting to see what he can actually do, and what his sort of style is, that he is a very ball to feet sort of player, even for a centre back. But, you know, you can tell that because Conroy's obviously come through the Chelsea Academy. And, you know, that's what we teach youngsters these days. And, you know, I think he's obviously not got the aerial ability. That's not his game. But, you know, I think he is a good, solid League Two player. I feel as if that any player is going to go through a bad patch. And I think probably more so as a defender, because if you're a defender, your job is to stop goals going in the back. One of your jobs is to basically stop the play and stop balls going into the back of the net, really. So, you know, I feel as if that he needs to, you know, I don't think he feels sorry for himself either. You know, I think he's the type of player. And, you know, leadership, it's not all about communication on the pitch. Yeah, that is a massive part of it, but it's also how you react in the changing rooms and how you react to criticism, because everybody's going to get criticism. That's just the way it is. If you're in the public spotlight, you're going to get criticism. And especially when you're an integral part and you've got that label as captain, you're gonna get, if you're not performing, you're gonna get criticism. So it's the way you bounce back from it. And like Craig said, if anybody thinks that that was Conroy's fault on Saturday, then they need to look at themselves, because that was definitely not Conroy's fault. And also, when a ball is trickling and you're chasing it, trickling over the line and you're chasing it, that's really hard to do, you know. And you could easily, if you do slip, you could easily get injured again, and that could pop your ACL. Conroy knows all about that, and that would be another year of his career gone.
You had to go for it anyway. Dominic Telford.
You had to go for it. And
yeah,
you know
Dominic
what?
Telford approached it in.
I put full support for him to even try and get that ball out of it. That's always a very tricky situation, you know. So fair play to Conroy for that, you know.
He did everything he could to get to that ball.
Did everything he could.
It was unfortunate. How many times have we seen that when that sort of thing's happened and the defender's knocked it in the net? It happens.
It's no blame.
Absolutely. So
again, more scrutiny should be looked at the lead up to that goal than Conroy's contribution to it.
But in like I say, I do like Conroy, and I really hope he sticks around. But I also support whatever criticism he does get. But for him to be like told, oh, he should be stripped of the captaincy, oh, he should be dropped completely from the squad, I just think is absolutely ridiculous, you know. So, and fair play to him for bouncing back, because he has put in some solid performances over the last few weeks. So fair play to him.
Woody, anything additional you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, if that's 10 minutes earlier in the game, Conroy's got to it and kept it out, hasn't he? You know, he's fair play to him. He's trying to run back when he's, you know, tiring, and I take my hat off to him. The funny thing is, a lot of people that are attacking Conroy and that also defended Gladwin, so they need their heads wobbled. But the I quite like Conroy. I do admit that I said back in February time, I don't think he should have been put straight back into the lineup or into the squad, because I think he did have a dip in form. Just because he's the captain doesn't mean he should be untouchable. But you know, I think I like him. You know, he is captain because he's been here a long time. I think that's the only reason in my eyes why he's captain. But I don't think he's captain material, but I don't think he should be stripped of it. You know, the decision was made at the beginning of the season that he is the captain. So we stick with that. And can we, as Swindon fans, really afford to be turning against one of our only remaining centre-backs? Of course we can't, although we did have technically two on the bench on Saturday. But so, you know, I hope he does sign. He's a good, I think Craig said, he's a good player at this level at League Two. He is probably the victim of an academy product, because you can see he plays like an academy defender. He's a very technical defender, which we've said many a times on this pod that you can't always do in League Two. So trying to adapt that game, and then chuck a couple of really unfortunate injuries in there as well. I take my hat off to him. I do appreciate the fact that he was unpaid. That doesn't mean he shouldn't be criticised, but I don't think he shouldn't be scapegoated for Saturday, and he definitely shouldn't be stripped of his captaincy at the moment, because all that's going to do is destroy him. And then we've lost a defender, not just a captain. But would I make him captain next season? Probably not, but that's not a discussion for this season.
Okay. Craig very kindly threw a couple of stats out there earlier. I've done a very, very, very basic level research for this next question, but it takes the view wider from just the weekend. So if you look since the 5-0 win over Walsall, and this stems from a comment, I should say, about the defenders potentially not being good enough. That the comment was made that we're one of the top goal scorers in the league, and the fact that we scored so many and we're not even in the playoffs tells you that the issue is in defence. In essence, that was the comment. So you can understand the point of view, but I said my issue with that is, how can a team that are one of the top goal scorers in the league be so bad at converting chances? So I had a look just since back to the 5-0 win, because you think those 5 goals are not a major contributing factor, but that's 5 goals in one game. So since that result, we scored 8 goals in 8 games. Okay, that's one per game on average. We've only kept 2 clean sheets in that time as well, which would still lead you to say that's a defensive issue because we're conceding too many goals. But when you consider, and the 2 games that stand out, Newport obviously, Crawley being another one, how many chances are being created for a team that supposedly scores as many goals as we do? Our current conversion rate, I would argue, is very poor. And I would say our inability to take our chances at the minute is probably more damaging than the fact that we're not keeping clean sheets. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that, Ben. I've not started with you yet. If you want to take that one first.
Yeah, no. Well, we've had quite a leaky defence all season. Clean sheets has not really been our forte. We've sort of scored more goals than the opposition. I think we had one really seriously ruthless player we've got in McCurdy since the turn of the year. The first half of the season, he wasn't quite as on fire than he is before he got injured. And another key factor in that is Simpson, who would have got 25 goals this season if he finished the season. Thank you, Ipswich. I think that's contributed to maybe to a lack of goals, but McCurdy makes a big difference. In 28 games he started, he scored 17 and he's assisted 7. So he's involved in a goal in every game that he starts. That's almost a 1-up. But we can see chances. We lack ruthlessness. We've only got one player that is pretty ruthless, in my opinion. That's McCurdy.
Rich.
Sorry.
He's not concentrating again.
Too busy typing, ha ha ha. Say it, Rich.
Yeah.
Basically,
well,
Rich,
I wouldn't have said that about McCurdy. I think he's been quite consistent all season, to be honest with you. I think ever since that Forest Green game, I would say, I think which was only like 6th game of the season. So I think he's been ever so consistent, and so was obviously Tyrese Simpson, but he's obviously gone now, unfortunately, which is a shame. So we can't really talk too much about him. And in hindsight, I think back in January you would have said, "Oh yeah, we were definitely going to be in the playoffs." But at the moment, we're not in those. We're not in those positions. Do I think it is? Obviously, we have conceded goals, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, obviously, if we concede goals, and obviously, that's going to have a massive factor in it. Obviously, I think the way that we've played as well, I think has been very, very positive. Have we been too overcommitting sometimes? Yeah, possibly. And I think that was probably partly to do with the goal on Saturday as well. But it was a game where both teams were sort of, they both needed it. We both, they're both just outside the playoffs, and both teams were going for that win. And Newport got their goal right at the end. So, and I think we've just been more unfortunate, really. I think we've just been unfortunate not to convert the goals that we should be converting. We've missed a lot of chances as well. So, you know, it is what it is. But I would say that we have been fairly consistent all season. I don't think we've conceded an awful lot of goals. I think the games that we have lost have been quite close. And, you know, it's just one of those things, really.
Woody, you seem to be nodding as I was making the point that our inability to take chances is possibly more damaging at the moment. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, and the reason I was nodding and laughing was because a couple of weeks ago I did a training session with my girls on converting chances as opposed to just shooting loads. So that's why it made me laugh. But yeah, I think, you know, if games like Saturday show where we've created 12 chances and not scored, you know, I would almost prefer that we only had 10 shots a game and converted 4 of them, you know, and rather than having 20 shots a game and not scoring at all. And I think that's probably been a problem quite a lot this season in general, to be totally honest. I don't care if we're letting goals in one end, if we're scoring in the other. That's always been my way of football. An old Swindon manager used to play like that as well. So, yeah, so I think, it's definitely been a problem. It's definitely been a problem of late. And again, I bring back to that point that converting chances isn't just about the striker converting the chances. You know, it's really, we should be converting chances. Anything that falls inside the 18-yard box, you know, should be hitting the back of the net or at least on target. So yeah, it's but I do think it's been. I don't think the clean sheets has been a problem. I don't, you know, that we're in that kind of league where there's a lot of goal scorers in this league. So I'm expecting to concede. And naturally, look how many times we've had to change our defence as well this season. So to expect to have loads of clean sheets would be a bit mind-numbing, to be honest. But yeah, the biggest problem, definitely the last few games, has been just converting those chances.
Craig, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with Woody there. I don't think the issue is so much at the back, you know, with the stats at the back. I mean, people use statistics to prove anything. 75% of all people know that. But saying that, I'll throw a stat at you. I think it's more, you know, I think it's more about who we've been losing against in the second half of this season. Again, I've come up with another stat. But
Ned would be so proud of me and you, Craig.
I know. He inspires me. So yeah, we've had 10 games against the teams above us since the start of the year, and we have won 3, drawn 1, and lost 6 to the teams above us. So I think that tells us that, one, we're not as good as we think we are, or 2, which I think is more likely, we're nowhere near playing to the potential that we could be. I think that's the issue. It's who we've been losing against. It's all very well beating teams like Oldham and Bradford and Warsaw, but apart from, I think Sutton was the most recent one who we've beaten, and they've been on a poor run of form. That for me is the key stat. We're not beating the teams around us, and I think we've only got in our running. I think it's only Forest Green have we got before now and the end of the season. So
only Forest Green.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, only out of those that are above us. So, you know, if we don't get into the playoffs with that run in, then something is seriously wrong, in my opinion. And I know, you know, I'm not saying that it's all over, but I don't have a lot of hope after Saturday against Newport. I think Saturday's result against Newport was a disastrous result for us, and it could be our turning point for the season. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong, and I know Richard will probably disagree with me, but yeah, I really hope that I'm wrong.
Well,
Do you
again,
remember when Port Vale were near us and everybody laughed at me when I said that Port Vale was a must-win game, even though it was away? I think Rich agreed with me, and I think Craig agreed. But I'm pretty sure everybody else on the panel went, "Oh no, Port Vale's not that important."
I think it was Ben specifically who called you out for that comment.
I'd go to say that the next game is a must-win, and Port Vale
every game is going to be a must-win.
Yeah, every game. These are the must-wins.
But I truly think that Newport was our turning point. If we turn it around now, I'm happy to eat humble pie. More than happy to do that.
You were just checking if you had a hat, weren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what though? I still think there's going to be a few surprises between now and the end of the season. I know there's only 6 games left, but there's still so many teams within that top 10 that can literally just surprise. And I'm hoping that we're going to be one of those teams.
Well,
I didn't think I completely ruled Salford out about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah. And everybody laughed at me and Wazza about Mansfield as well.
Yeah.
No one likes to know it all. No, that's fine. Before we jump the gun, because I do want to ask you all where you think that leaves us and how positive you are. I do have one more individual question, and I'll leave this as a free-for-all. Whichever one of you wants to jump in first on this, you can. One other player who seems to be now completely splitting the fan base between those who are looking at him on paper and those that are looking at him on grass is Johnny Williams. And I'm interested to know, a lot of people on this panel, whether tonight or regulars who couldn't be here, have had 1 or 2 complaints, particularly more lately, that he spends a lot of time on the grass, but not necessarily on his feet. Where do you all stand on what he is giving the team at the moment?
I'll start off on this one. I remember we looked back at the start of the season and we kept wondering why Williams wasn't actually starting and stuff like that. And now I can sort of see why. He is an impact substitution, and I just feel as if that when he starts games, he's not as impactful as when he has come off the bench previously. So, and this is why I say I think the Payne and Williams sort of rotation would work. So Payne would start the game and then Williams comes on. And that's the role I sort of see him, because I think when he comes on, if he does that when he comes on, okay, he causes a nuisance and he potentially could get a free kick or a penalty in a good position. And on another day, the ref might be gullible enough and actually give us something for once. I know in hindsight,
give us something for once.
Yeah.
Well, just calling out the referees now, it's their fault.
Oh, don't get me started on them. So, but in hindsight, yeah, no, most of Williams's dives are actual dives. So, he looks for everything. But I think when it comes towards an end of the game, yeah, that could be very beneficial for us. I think doing it constantly.
Are you condoning diving there?
Hey?
Are you condoning diving?
No, not at all. Why?
You've just said most of his dives are dives, but at the end of the game, that could be beneficial to us. We do not condone diving.
No, we're not condoning diving. No, trying to say this in a way that, obviously, I mean, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, when he has come on in the past, he has caused himself a nuisance, and it is what it is. And he sometimes he does go down genuinely. And he does get fouls, but I think he often dives too much. And I think also, and this is another thing as well, when Williams is playing and he's starting the games and he's doing that all during the game. Okay, we're not getting any flow in the game. We're not getting any real flow. And he's going down, we're winning free kicks. Okay, great. But then we're going back again. and that's where all the possession in our own half is what we're seeing. So, that's it.
Woody, do you want to come in on this one?
I not direct. Not
as a coach, where do you stand on this?
Oh, on diving,
yeah,
part of the game now. But it is part of genuine. I don't tell my players to do it, and I never have done, but it is part of the game now. It's, unfortunately, and it is slowly creeping in. But the thing is, and this is what makes me laugh about it, beginning of the season, Johnny Williams comes on the last half hour or whatever, and he is drawing fouls all over the place. And he was going down easily then, and we were praising him because he was like, yeah, he's getting a free kick for us here. He's getting free kick. He'll get us free kicks the same way McCurdy does, the same way, many other. There's loads of players. Williams is probably suffering with a bit of the starstruck effect. The fact that we've signed a player that arguably should be too good for us, and now we're looking at reasons to pick on him because he's not performing his best. So now we're like, he spends all the time on the floor. I don't think he was actually that bad in terms of diving on Saturday, to be totally honest. I think, as I agree with Ben, I think his first half hour, he was pretty effective. But I just think that at the end of the day, we don't like it, but he's an ex-Premier League player. Most Premier League players do it. So it's, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Louis Barry fall over every now and then. It's, unfortunately, it is part of the game. I don't like it, but it is part of the game. The thing is like you say, Williams got away with it for a long time where he was going down quite soft. But the thing is, and we just had a little bit of an exchange in the message about genuinely about penalties, getting a penalty. I don't care if it's a dive, if he gets us a pen. Not massively true, but almost justice served for the amount of free kicks we don't get.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think this is why diving was brought into the game, because the amount of free kicks that players don't get that they should. Davison should have had 2 penalties on Saturday by the rules of the game, not because we appealed for him, by the rules of the game. And because he's a big guy and doesn't go down easily, he doesn't get them. So when you've got a little guy like Johnny Williams or a little guy like McCurdy, they go down easily, their card's booked, so it's I don't condone it, but I'm not going to say to him that he's having a poor season because he spends some of his most of the game on the floor. He wasn't, as I said, he wasn't to blame for Saturday. That wasn't to blame for Saturday. But yeah, I just think I do think it will be interesting to see the Payne versus Williams kind of debate going forward on what we do with him. But he is suffering a little bit with the old price tag argument, if you like, without actually paying for him. Like Harry Maguire gets picked up on everything because he has an £80 million price tag attached to him. If they only pay 10 million for him, they're not picking up on it. That's my
Ben, I'll ask you obviously for your comments on Williams and just linking into what Woody said there. Do you think, as he quite rightly said, at the start of the season he was picking up a lot of free kicks? Is it one of those, as a fan of a cliche as you are, his cards are almost marked before the game starts? The referees know he was one of the most fouled players in the league. They've probably seen some of the decisions are soft, and they're like, right, well, you're not getting half as much as you were now.
I think there's part of that. I think referees talk to each other, and I think they take notes of players. And Williams is a well-known player.
Little referees WhatsApp group.
May well be a referee WhatsApp group. Wouldn't surprise me if there was one. That there's a group of about 20, 25 refs, and they will talk to each other, and they'll get on. I don't know. I'm not a ref. As in terms of Williams, I think the type of player he was is quite a low gravity player that likes to run with the ball. I think the start of the season he was picked out as a danger man, and he was pinpointed for a bit of treatment. And he's also known to going down off injured quite easily. So I think they were just trying to kick the 11 bells of shizer out of him. I don't think he's lived up to expectations, so the fans give him a bit of a bad rap. I don't think he's been bad. I think he's been all right. I think he's been a bit part player this season because he rarely completes 90 minutes because he can't play 2 games in a week because of previous injuries. So it's hard for him to get a rhythm. But I like him. I don't understand the over amount of criticism there is against him. and I think he's one of our better players.
Craig, anything you'd like to add into the Williams debate?
Mute.
Sorry.
And then I love it every time someone leaves themselves on mute, they automatically unmute themselves to the point that they're swearing at themselves.
It's great for the pod.
Like 2 weeks in a row now, that is. Oh. Well, look, I can only judge Williams on the. I haven't seen that many games this season, but there have been. I've been hearing rumblings about him online before Saturday's game, and I saw it on Saturday's game. It just frustrated me because, you know, I understand what Woody's saying about, like, you know, there's times when technically it's a foul and it's not given. You know, you have players are quicker these days and everything. They're running at pace. They get contact, and but they don't go down. So the referee doesn't give a foul, even though technically it is a foul. So I understand why players would go down. But there was times on Saturday where there was just no need for it. And like Rich was saying, it was disrupting our play. And I think half the time he went down, it blatantly wasn't even a foul. He didn't even appeal for it. He just went down and got back up again. So that's what frustrated me with him. I think he's been, when he has played this season, he has been a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got 5 goals, 5 assists. So that's not bad for someone who's been a bit part player this season. But I think it's just about, especially at this level, you haven't got VAR. You're not going to get the quality refereeing decisions that you get in the Premiership. So he's got to be a bit more clever about when he does, you know, draw these fouls and go down. And it's the way you go down as well sometimes. If you're rolling around and stuff like that, doing an extra forward roll when there's no bloody need to, the ref's not going to bloody give it, are they? So maybe I'm a bit more old school talking like that, but that's the way I see it. And I'm only judging him by the one game. I'm not saying he's been bad this season at all or anything like that. I think he's been good for us. But yeah, that you know, the way he played on Saturday, he had a good game first half. But yeah, that form around just really pissed me off, to be honest. So yeah.
No, that's completely fair enough, man. That's completely fair enough. Okay, one last question before we move on to some other topics then. Craig and Rich have already kind of started to state their position on it, but we will let them conclude. So Woody, I'll come to you first. We've posted in our chat while we've been here as well. Rich mentioned some of the fixtures of over the bank holiday weekend of teams near us playing each other. All things considered, where do you think the result leaves us, and how positive are you? I think we kind of said the same last week. Just about everyone seems to have given up on automatics now. Playoffs, yes, no? Where do you see us?
I still think we'll get playoffs. I just think we've made it bloody hard for ourselves. I'm still confident. I have to admit, I'm probably a little bit more confident now I've seen some of the fixtures that are happening over the weekend. Yeah, so I am still confident. I'm always one that will say, until it's similar to what you said the other week, Fifey, until it's mathematically impossible. I just think we made it hard for ourselves. We're doing it the Swindon way.
I was just going to say,
absolutely.
I was just going to say, we never do anything easy. So, you know, this is it. But yeah, like I said earlier, the ball's in our court now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Woody. Ben?
Yeah, well, if you ever look at our fixtures, the last 2 games, I think we need...
Don't start calling teams out, please.
No, I'm not calling teams out. No, I'm saying we need 4 wins and a draw, I think, of our last 6 games to guarantee top 6. Our last 2 games are Barrow, who I think are in trouble, real trouble of going down, not because they're Tim Pot.
You didn't even have to say the word, Ben. You didn't have to say it, mate.
For fuck's sake, Ben.
Mate, you just
no,
said it.
I know. I don't think their manager's very good. I think the team's been in decline quite well, and they've been dragged from relative safety into a relegation scrap. And we're at home. So I think
well, that doesn't help.
The last game is Walsall, where we're taking 3,500 to Walsall, and we've won our other 2 games against them. They've got nothing to go for. So there's a real opportunity for 6 points there out of both of those games. So we need 2 wins and a draw out of the other 4 out of who we got on Friday. Harrogate, Orient, 2 very winnable. Hartlepool, winnable. No, these are. I'm not saying then you know, you much rather these games than Exeter away, for example. So I'm just saying as they are. You look at the fixtures and you think these games are winnable.
Yeah, so as someone who said a couple of weeks ago, I don't think we will, but there is every chance we can beat every team we had left.
I didn't say we'd win them, but I think we've still got a real good opportunity to break into the top 4, and I'd much rather break into 7th on the last day and have the big uplift.
It's not about where you start the day; it's about where you end it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of know Craig and Rich's position already from what they said to the previous question. So Woody's put an interesting scenario, and I'm sure this is something that'll get replayed over the next couple of weeks as things become more clear. But I'm going to throw it out there for you guys specifically. Woody, you can listen to the rest and then you can answer it last, okay? So Rich, you go first. And his question that he's put in the chat is, he wants to throw a scenario out there. We need to beat Walsall to get to the playoffs. With 3,500 fans there, do we do it?
I mean, that's the that would be a hell of a way to do it. That's all I can say on it. Will we do it or not? I'm going to be the optimistic one and say yes. And if we did do it, then whatever happens after that, then that's just an amazing achievement. So yeah, and I can just picture it now as well. Like, you know, I just love to see it. Things we love to see.
Craig, that scenario, do we win it?
Yeah, I mean, I said before in the previous one, I think it would go to the last game, but I think, I mean, the scenario that I had that I have in my head now is that it would be like something ridiculous, like we have to win like by 3 or 4 goals and hope that another team, every other team around us or something drops points or loses or whatever. But you know, it's Woody's scenario, so let's live in fantasy land for a bit. Can we do it?
I'm sure this isn't Woody's fantasy.
Oh, Jesus Christ, can we do it? I don't know. Oh, fucking hell, Christ.
Craig, I would say if it was...
Craig's having a moral dilemma over a theoretical
I know. It's just like having a conversation with my missus. This is about things that are never going to fucking happen. But
I would say, Craig, I would say it was fantasy if we were 9 points adrift of the last playoff place. But the fact that we're only 3 points with a game in hand, I wouldn't say it's fantasy. Not where we've been all season. So
I'm just saying that it was different scenario in my head. Not that it was a fantasy, but
do you want me to ask someone else while you argue with the devil and the angel on your shoulder, Craig?
Yeah. No. I don't. I'm going to say no. I think I just think that I don't know whether we'll be mentally strong enough to do that, whether the players would be able to handle that sort of pressure, because it will kind of be like a home game for us with 3,500 players there. So
3,500 players.
We haven't been good at home.
Win with that many.
We should win.
If we don't win, then I'll be.
But yeah, that's
how
I feel.
I think if 3 points required, and there's going to be more away fans than home, and we've got half the ground packed out, singing at the top of our voices. Also, we'll have to play for them. They're going to turn up. They're not going to sing, and we're going to. No, that's not
Ben.
That's.
I remember you being this confident for Newport
and Crawley.
No, I'm saying.
I'm not going to bother picking up my ticket now. I'm just going to get a refund. Ben has just ruined that game for me.
Oh dear.
What I will say is that we've done it at Walsall before this season, and there's no reason as to why we can't do it again.
It will be rocking. The noise will be
in the FA Cup.
All be full voice. And it's going to be better than a home game, because a home game, Newport, the atmosphere was pretty bad. We all agree that. We haven't actually touched on that. The atmosphere was pretty poor when we played Newport. At Walsall, it will be rocking because it's an away day and it's shit or bust, and we'll be up for it. And I hope the players will respond to that. I think, to answer the question, though, depends who's playing. It would depend on how fit our key players are. Payne, McCurdy, Williams.
Rich, have you got any more room on that fence that you generally sit on for Ben, please?
Well, I know
I sit on
and
the
overconfident
I don't
Ben,
sit on
too
the fence.
confident
Craig
Ben,
sits on the
slagging
fence.
off Tim Pot, this, that, Sheridan,
I don't
that.
sit on the
Oh, now I'm
fence.
sat on the fence.
You were on the fence 2 minutes ago,
We're
mate.
just arguing over who sits on the fence. Woody, come on, can you restore some sensibility to
This is why I don't submit mailbag questions.
Right.
It was just a simple question, lads. If it's the
Send it
last
to
game
him.
of the season, we need to win.
It's a
We've
yes
got
or no
3,500.
question, basically.
Do we woo it? I'm going to say yes, we do, just because of the away games I've been to this season, where it's absolutely erupted. And I put us down as the 12th man on that.
Yeah. Tim Pot.
Thank you, Woody.
And because Warsaw Tim Pot. I'm joking.
I think 3-minute Bob was right.
Oh, bless Bob.
Well, speaking of 3-minute Bob, we have had some mailbag questions, and one of them isn't strictly football related. So anyone that's offended by us talking something that isn't football, please switch off for the next 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, Bob.
But cast your minds back a week, and we started the pod in rather controversial terms because Rich made a point about mint chocolate that not a lot of people necessarily agreed with. Some did, but not many. Max, who recently started following our Twitter account, sent in a mailbag question, and it's along the same sort of lines. And he wanted to know where the panelists stand with pineapple on pizza.
Yes, done.
Now, I'm happy. Woody's kind of jumped in ahead.
No.
I was quite happy to go straight in and say, yes, absolutely. Even on a create your own, I throw it on there. Woody seems to be in an agreement. So go on, Woody. You just confirm that agreement, and then we'll go to Ben.
Yeah, I love it. I love pineapple on pizza. That's it. I have it on every pizza.
Craig's that offended he's walked off, Ben.
Sarah and I both pulled exactly the same sort of thing. Poor girl's ill right there, and you've just made her feel worse. Pineapple and pizza. Oh yeah, I'll just stick on. Like, what should we have? Kiwi on pizza. It's just like, oh no.
No, that's just
What has
stupid. Dan.
kiwi got to do with anything?
What's pineapple got to do with a pizza?
You only asked for one thinking word.
Yeah. The answer is no.
Right.
I think if you put pineapples on pizzas, you're worse than child killers in my book.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Rich.
I mean, each to their own, right? But for me, it would be a no. But yeah, whatever makes people happy, that's fine by me.
And this is why Fifey and Woody are at the wheel.
I'm just worried that I'm now referred to as a child killer. As an under 16.
I was going to say, as an
coach.
under 16s coach.
Well, you have got a bit of the Fred West look about you, mate. So.
And I do need to cut players for the final.
Worst performer gets eliminated.
God. We did have a couple of other mailbag questions. Luke, friend of the show, gets very involved in all of our questions and conversations. He sent in, on the basis, worst case scenario, we do have another season in League Two next year. What, in your opinions, classes as progress on and off the field over the course of that season? Rich, you go first.
Embargo to be lifted, main one, so we can sign some players.
Yep.
He did go on to say, if it helps you answer the question, he did go on to say, is automatic a must next year? Would you be disappointed if we were having another conversation about playoffs?
Yes.
Okay. So embargo to be lifted off the pitch and
And
automatics on the
automatic
pitch.
promotion. Yeah, definitely. I think so. I don't personally, obviously, with everything that went off last season, I think playoffs, I mean, obviously we all wanted automatic, but we also, any kind of promotion, I think for us would have been beneficial for us. And if we can still potentially get playoffs this season, fantastic. If we don't, and we have to rebuild again in the summer, I think we should be rebuilding for a team that should be competing right at the top. And I feel as if that, automatics would probably be the main goal for next season. So, yeah, I think that's the main thing.
Okay, Ben.
Own the counter ground. Obviously, have most of the deck gone, of most of whatever power's left behind gone, and start work on the counter ground itself, the bank, and actually be a contender for outright promotion.
Okay, Craig.
Yeah, pretty much agree with what Rich says. I think we've got to go for automatic promotion next season, but it's going to be tougher. Bradford City are going to be up there, and obviously whoever comes down as well, they're going to be it's going to be tough, arguably tougher next season.
Stockport will be good next year.
Season. Yeah,
Wrexham possibly.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I think the transfer embargo will be lifted, so that'll be good.
I can see the special episode now. Big time Ben goes to Hollywood.
Hey, do you think that I'll be able to get Ryan Reynolds? I could have an interview with him. Or maybe I could sign him an autograph.
Maybe you need to speak to one of your other podcast friends, because I can't see Ryan Reynolds coming on this.
Oh yeah, that's we could do. Maybe you can get that American guy from the Forest Green thing on.
I think though, generally, for all the progress that we've made off the pitch, and we've made substantial progress considering where we were. Me, Rich, and Woody were there at that Hungerford game when we only had like 6 fit contracted players on the pitch. That's all brilliant, and every single Swindon fan is grateful for that. But that's no good if next season we don't go up again. We need to see it on the pitch. That's why I'm willing to give Garner another chance next season. He'll have no excuses, but progress for next season, we have to see it as promotion, ideally automatically, but I'll take via the playoffs.
Okay, Woody?
Yeah, it's similar to what the lads have said. I think next season, if the embargo is lifted, well, it will be lifted. When the embargo is lifted, it will give us that true intention of Clem and the board to say how much they want to be out of this division. Will we have some money to spend? The embargo is lifted, which means we'll be able to invest as well as spend. Off the pitch, just continue seeing what we're seeing at the moment. Just gradual progression that's not over promising and under delivering, and that's the key thing for me. I would expect automatics, to be totally honest. It will be difficult, but if they want to push the crowds to 10,000-11,000 each week and get all of that kind of stuff, we need to give the fans something to shout about. Let's give the town, we've given them this season to get over what has happened in terms of, I know we're going to be recovering for a while, but there's been a lot of positive stuff that's happened this season. I wouldn't want to ruin that by finishing mid-table in League Two next season. So if we don't go up this season, I would expect a decent amount of money spent to make sure we get out of it next season automatically.
Yeah.
Okay. Claire has also sent in a lot of interesting points.
On first name basis now.
What I've tried to do is pick out a couple of specific points and framework them in a way that we are asking, because a lot of the questions will be very similar week on week, depending on the nature of where we are. So what I'm trying to do is framework them in a way that we can give a slightly different answer. And so what I've done is from her message that she sent us, I've picked out 2 points. So we'll go in reverse order. So Woody, you can go first this time. Based purely, well, no, I'll leave it up to you how you want to view it. Either purely on the squad we have, are we overachieving, on par, or underachieving? Or you can, if you want to, and I know as a pod we've generally tried to distance ourselves from we should be thankful we've just got a club now. If you want to base it from where we were at that Hungerford friendly to now, are we overachieving, on par, or underachieving?
I look at it slightly differently. I think given where we were, our squad is better than we thought it would be. Yeah. Do I think we're overachieving with this squad? Probably not. I actually think we're probably underachieving with the actual squad we've got. I've been corrected a few times this season in terms of how good the squad is, but I do still genuinely believe that we've got one of the best starting 11s in the league.
Yeah.
We just haven't had that starting 11 very often. But yeah, so I would say, given where we are, we've got a better squad. Oh, given where we were, we've got a better squad than we thought we were going to have. But I do generally think this squad should probably be higher up than it is. But we won't know. I think it's hard to say whether you're over or underachieving until the season's finished, to be totally honest.
Fair enough. Ben?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think at the start of the season, if you said, "Oh, you'll be in around the playoffs come May," I laughed at you, and I said that's a hell of an overachievement. But then, on reflection, with the players that we've got, and you can reel off players that other teams just don't have the quality of them.
Well, technically, they don't have any of them.
Well, no, but I don't think many teams have players with the ability of Jack Payne, who can quite happily play at a higher level. Same with Johnny Williams. The same, I could be said with Louis Barry, with McCurdy, and you can list them off. Tomlinson. So you say in reflection of that, maybe we should be. It's actually not. It's almost disgraceful that we wouldn't finish in the top 7. So it's a tough question, really. So it's hard to answer, but this team should be finishing in the top 7 at the end of the day. So it's going to be disappointing not to get there.
And this is exactly why I don't tend to pre-warn you guys what the questions are, to get your actual response to it. You don't have time to plan. Craig?
Yeah, I definitely think we are underachieving. We should be in the automatic promotion spot with this squad and this first 11. Yeah, granted, we haven't been able to put out our strongest first 11 every time, but how many teams can actually get a strong 25-man squad in this league? Probably Salford. That's about it. And arguably ours is one of the strongest ones. We, definitely, I think definitely in the top 3, that's for sure. And definitely with our first 11. So I think it's a combination of the players not fulfilling their potential, but also Ghana not getting the best out of that squad and out of that first 11. Yeah, we're definitely underachieving, but that doesn't mean to say that I've lost faith in Ghana. I think he's learning, and hopefully he will learn and be a bit more flexible tactically and with his selections, and as we covered earlier, with his substitutions.
Sorry to interrupt.
No. Go on,
before Rich cuts in the front, one thing I will say that has hindered us a little bit, and would say in Ghana's defence, is that we are short of another number 9. And if anything happens to someone like Louis Barry, we haven't got anyone like him, and the team really does look short without Louis Barry in the team.
Yeah, so, but every team has that issue with, apart from Salford, probably.
Every team's got more than one striker. I can say, I bet you all the teams got more than one number 9. We've only got one.
Surely that's more of a fault higher up, then, isn't it? That's a recruitment issue.
That is a recruitment, but that's because of the embargo that we had. So that's just the one thing.
No, it's not. How is it? No, it's not.
Well, we couldn't go out and get someone that we really wanted to, because we've got, we were not going to get up with someone that was.
I don't think many clubs could get the strikers that they wanted this season, Ben.
We couldn't get the quality that we wanted.
We've had a good squad there. We've been banging goals in.
Ghana said that we had the opportunity to buy. Sorry, mate. Ghana said on Friday that we had the opportunity to sign Dom Telford. So why didn't we snap their hands off for him?
We're saying we don't.
I don't know. That was the start of the season. That was in.
We're saying we don't have a second number 9, but our top scorer is an inside forward in Harry McCurdy. So, the question is, do we actually need another number 9? It brings back to that argument of we've put a lot of weight of our wage bill into that starting 11. So, and it comes back to that whole argument around the likes of Harry Parsons and things like that again. That's, that should be, if Davison gets injured, if we haven't got another number 9, that's who you put in. That's the way it is. That's the way football is. I'd say I agree with Craig. I think Salford, possibly Mansfield, are the only ones who could probably get 25 fully, developed senior pros because of the money they've got available to them, and maybe Forest Green to a certain extent. But yeah, I think it's the same problem for everybody. And that's why I've always said that when people are like, oh, we've lost Harry McCurdy, it's going to destroy our season. That's why I completely disagree, because I'm just like, yes, he's a very effective player, but we cannot call ourselves promotion contenders if we're affected by one player going missing.
Correct. Rich, your take on the first part of the question?
Yeah, I think obviously as a football club, the expectancies are always there to be, given the league that we're in, obviously League Two, our expectancy is to obviously be challenging for, well, not just automatics, but to be winning the league itself. Obviously, despite everything that's happened over the last year and a half or so, it was a total rebuild, but it's not like we've not had to totally rebuild before. And I feel as if I think the way that we've been able to sort of get the players that we have managed to get in, okay, it will take time to gel, especially when you've got a full brand spanking new team. And I think for Ghana and Chorley, you would hope that there would be some players that would have played together before, but not all of those players will do. But I think a massive thing, and I think one thing that's been missed out just this part of the conversation, is how the expectancy of our fan base this season. And if you would have asked me last season, would we be getting bumper crowds of 10, 11,000, which we very rarely saw under Lee Power, if you thought I was going to see that for the majority of this season, I think we've overachieved in that sense, and I think that was a major goal of Clem, as what he stood out at the start of the season, was to be getting big crowds of 10.5, 11,000. So I think that is another thing, and also away from home. I mean, we've just our following again. I know we did it a lot under Richie Wellens, but this season's just been on a different level. It's just been on an absolute different level, going up and down the country. I think that's just been. I think if we're to take anything from this season, I think that would be one thing.
If you consider it, our away trips have been a lot more longer than what they were when we were in Wellens. I'm pretty sure that was the case. We didn't have as many local games. So the away.
We didn't have Barrow and we didn't have Hartlepool.
Yeah, exactly. We had a few more local ones like Cheltenham and teams like that. So yeah, it's you're right there, Rich. That's spot on.
Thanks for the token Cheltenham mention as well, mate. Appreciate that.
Well, CK's not here, so it got to be done.
The second main point of her comments to us that I frameworked in recent episodes, we've spoken about key players that would be major if we go up, that would do a job in League One, players we could lose if we end up in League One, if we don't go to League One, etc. What I'm interested to know this time around is players in the current squad that you would only really be looking to keep if we didn't go up, and by that I mean, and I'm not suggesting he's one of them, but two of you tonight have said Dion Conroy is a very good League Two centre-half, technically speaking. But does that suggest that he's not a very good League One centre-half? Equally, Rich and some of the things Woody was saying was perhaps his game's better suited to be higher up the ladder as well. But are there players in this squad that if we don't go up would form a major part of the rebuild for next year, but you will perhaps not be so surprised if they weren't part of the squad if we did manage to go up? I will start this time with Ben.
I would keep as many of the squad, apart from there's a few that will cut loose, and a few that we probably would agree on would cut loose. We won't say the names right now, but I would keep as many as the squad as humanly possible together for continuity, because every year we rebuild, and it doesn't. And continuity builds strength and playing together.
Just on that, then
I'll keep the majority together.
On that, when it comes to young squads, I understand that they grow, they develop, etc. But with some of the players we've got this year, if we fail to go up, you'd be happy to go again with the same players that failed this year?
I would add 4 or 5, I don't think we're far off a top 3 team. I don't think we're miles away.
No, I think we all agree that we should be there. We've all said that at various points.
We need to have a strong pre-season.
Yeah, we need a strong pre-season. I think a little bit more in depth in certain areas, and probably a little bit more quality. I'd say probably 5 bring in the summer that we could do with the squad that we've got now. Obviously, we're going to lose loans, so those loans need replacing.
So let me flip that comment the other way around then. So again, something we've all pretty much said at points this season, and specifically in more recent weeks, Woody's been a big advocate for it. On paper, we think we have one of, if not the strongest starting 11 in the division. But you want to bring in 5 players on top of what we've got now. Now, is that 5 squad players, or is that 5 players to improve one of the best 11s in the division?
No, five players that can challenge them. Like I said, the reason why we lost to Newport, the players we brought on were considerably worse than the players that were coming off. Now, I want to bring on players who are just as good as the players that are just coming off. I want, I want a squad of players that.
You want to, for example, you want to replace Harry McCurdy with another Harry McCurdy.
Yeah,
it's not realistic in League Two, is it?
I don't think so. We can have we've already got 2 players that are probably of a similar, in Louis Barry and Harry McCurdy, and get one more.
Okay.
If we can pick, we can pick one.
Do we want players so similar though?
No. I want flexibility. I want enough to go. So it's right. 4-3-3 isn't working. We'll go to a 5-3-2 and have the players to incorporate that on the bench that we can do it comfortably. I don't know what everyone else thinks. Does everyone think that they're okay with the squad? Because I would shave a few players that are in and around the squad.
Give me one name, just one that you would keep if we stay in League Two, but you'd happily lose if we get promoted.
Bowdry. He's retiring anyway.
Well, that's a cop-out. So it's gotta be a cop-out.
What's a cop-out?
Get off that bloody fence and give me a name.
A name of someone that I would.
That you don't think would do a job for us in League One.
I don't think Parsons. I don't think Parsons has got it. I don't think.
Controversial.
I'm going to say I don't think Parsons.
So we chat at length last week about youth development. We get promoted. You're like, no, fuck that. Off he goes.
No, I'd keep some. I would. I'll keep. Even though we signed him, but obviously Cal Meadow, and obviously I think they should come along, and I think it's great that they've signed in, and I think they should get their chance the season.
Parsons, do you mean sell him or send him on loan to a League Two club?
No, don't give him the option to send him out on loan now. He's just fucking cut him loose. Don't bring him back in.
I don't know. I'm only going what I've seen in this season, and it's harsh. It's really harsh because I've only seen him come on for the last 50, 20. And the only time I've seen him genuinely for long term is Tranmere at home. And he did all right that game, but he's not any way affected a game. He's been sort of almost JML-ish, as in done nothing.
Right, Ben. I feel like I've grilled you for 5 minutes there, and I've managed to put you in a position where you have talked yourself into an early grave with some of these panelists. So, Woody, let's bring you in at this point, and the same question to you.
I'd like to keep the majority of the squad if we stay in League Two. I do agree, although I agreed with quite a lot of what Ben just said. I disagreed with what Ben just said. I do agree with the continuity point. We look at, I think it was Accrington Stanley. Who are they? When they got, they won the league or got promoted? I can't remember which one they did, but they only made like 3 transfers that season. And so you look at that, shows to me how important continuity can be. I disagree completely with the point about Harry Parsons, but I can see the method of thinking maybe behind it. I once had a drink too, but no, I think no. But in all seriousness, we would need to look at what we do with Parsons, players like Parsons, if we go up. Like a League Two loan might actually suit him. Similar to what Scotty Twine did.
Do you think he'd get a League Two loan at this point?
I think if he carries on not playing for us, he might get a lower end of League Two side potentially loan, and I hope in some ways I kind of hope he does, because I genuinely, I don't know, I see something different in him myself. I just think he needs a good run of games, or at least a good. Hopefully, we can tie up the playoffs relatively early and and then play him in a few more games. But in terms of, I think the squad would change quite dramatically naturally. I think I can't see players like Johnny Williams hanging around if we're still in League Two. I think Jack Payne might be on his last legs in terms of us, not retirement, but in terms of us if we stay in League Two. So I think we'll be forced to make some changes anyway. Loan players is just the way League Two is, so we'll just have to replace those loan players. It's just what happens. In terms of the flip question, I don't know if you wanted me to answer that.
Yeah, please.
And this is it pains me to say it because everybody on the pod knows I love him, but I think Rob Hunt wouldn't cut it in League One now for next season. As much as it pains me to say it, I really like the guy. He's our most consistent player. But would he do the job for us in League One? And that's me just chucking a ball, thinking of somebody who still plays a lot for us and has had an integral part in us. But
so you didn't want criticising like Ben did for his really shit choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I love Rob Hunt. I absolutely love him. But
you've spoken about him loads this season.
Yeah, I just don't think he would be what we need in League One to be a competitive side in League One.
Just a 7.5 out of 10 every week.
In League Two. Rich?
Yeah, I'm not going to beat around the bush about this. I agree. With
oh yeah, Jerry Mitchell Lawson as well.
Go on, beat those bushes. Beat them up.
Mitchell Lawson.
Yeah, we all say that.
Well, you'd be happy to keep him in League Two. You'd be happy to keep Mitchell Lawson in League Two. That was the question, wasn't it?
To be fair, the question was worded: a player that you'd be happy to keep in League Two but not take to League One. Rich has now muted himself again.
So much going on.
He just loves Mitchell Lawson, doesn't he? He just wants him in League Two.
Sorry, carry on, Rich.
No, that's literally it. That's all I've got to say, really.
Right. Okay.
So you want to keep Mitchell Lawson?
So we've established Rich wants to keep Mitchell Lawson in League Two.
It's such a difficult one.
No.
You
Sorry.
You want to
keep. Rich has now realised he's not listened to the question properly at all.
I think it's such a difficult question because you'd want to keep most of them apart from Mitchell
it's hard.
Lawson.
It's hard
in League. You wouldn't want to keep Mitchell Lawson in League Two or League One. But I agree with Woody. I think Rob Hunt just wouldn't be quite cut out for League One. I also think whether we in League Two or League One, which is slightly different from the question, is not that I think he is a great player, but I think we get more value from getting rid of Jack Payne. Because he's one of our highest earners. I think we get a lot more value by bringing in two quality players for the same money that he's on. It's all about value at League, generally with any division, but especially in Leagues 2 and Leagues 1. And how many times this season have we said that we haven't had enough quality in depth? So I think in a way, even though he is a quality player, he's been brilliant this season, I think we would get more value with Jack Payne gone, whether we're in League Two or League One.
Okay. Side note, based on just thinking around how you guys have worded some of that, and we'll give Rich a chance to redeem himself by going first with this one. If you could bring back next year any one of this year's loan players, regardless of division, which one would it be, Rich?
Tomlinson.
You're not Rich.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Tomlinson, but I gotta go, lads. All right. I did put a message, right?
Rich.
But yeah, Tomlinson.
Okay, thanks. Craig?
Christ, I mean, I'd say Simpson, obviously, because he's a good striker, and that's something we've been sorely lacking. But I mean, that's only just. I quite like Kessler Hayden. I thought he was class, but. Yeah, Tomlinson's another good shout. So, yeah, there's not much in it. My choice in Simpson.
Ben's disappeared, so he.
I think that's a compliment to Chorley as well. That the majority of our loan players, except for Alex Gilbert, I can say that.
Yeah, now you can say
Rich is
that now
gone.
that Rich
With
is
the
gone.
exception of Alex Gilbert, most of our loan players have been pretty effective. From that point of view, the reason I chose Tomlinson on that is just because I think he's probably a realistic option. Simpson is as well. Simpson's not a bad shout.
And also in a position that we actually need the strengthening in.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, we don't have any left backs if Tomlinson's not here, so
Correct.
we do. Yeah, so it's I think if we got someone like Simpson, which would be awesome, we would need to bring in somebody to go alongside him as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks, Craig. We'll appreciate you need to go as well, mate. So enjoy your evening.
I'll just quickly give you my prediction for Harrogate, because they're on a shit run of form at the moment.
Oh, here we go again.
I'm going to be positive for a change. I reckon we'll get a 2-0 win.
Good lad. Enjoy your evening.
Cheers, guys.
Woody, we come to the point, and it was completely my fault this got missed last time round. I take full responsibility. But please, can you update with what happens for STFC Women this weekend and what is coming up over the next week or so?
Yep. So, well, we've lost half of our listeners and half of our panel. So, because we've been on for an hour and a half now.
Three main protagonists are still here.
Yeah. So the weekend just gone. A pretty good weekend, to be honest. So the development team won 5-0 against AEK Boko. That team that we're still waiting.
Is that the team that ignored our tweets?
Yep, still ignore us. And
How many times have they played them now?
So they play everybody in their league 3 times anyway.
Oh.
So kind of the Scottish League setup, if you like. But yeah, so really good result for them. She's not really my under 16s but she plays for us as well. She scored again, which is brilliant for her, because that's what she's about. And our first team drew 1-1 with Southampton Women, which is actually, I went down to watch the game because it was Jamie's last game. So I tried to make sure I was down there for it. It was a really good result. Not a great spectacle maybe on the eye in terms of we were quite defensive in my opinion, but Southampton needed to beat us to have a chance of winning the league. And so we did that typical kind of, we're going to frustrate the crap out of you and then pinch a late equalizer, which is exactly what we did. So it was good, and good for Jamie to sign off on a positive result because it's positive points.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good. So, but that ends the first team season. So the first team have now finished for the rest of the season. And my under 16s are obviously on their Easter break now. A lot of them go off to Barcelona now with the foundation. So the Foundation Centre of Excellence, they go off, I think it's around every Easter anyway. Obviously, it's been delayed for the last couple of years, but they're off to Barcelona to take part in a girls' tournament out there. So I think there's about 6 of my players on that. So it's just a development this weekend who have got Bolton. So they're continuing their charge, which is still going to go down to that game. I think it's either the second from last or the last game of the season against Warminster. So really good. Hopefully a good result for them at the weekend will set them up nicely. I think they must be one of the only teams playing on Easter Sunday as well. But yeah, it's...
And as good as the experience of Barcelona is going to be, it's actually a bit of a shame. So if I remember rightly, it's the Harrogate 2 on Monday, isn't it?
Yeah, which is, I don't want to criticise the club too much, but I will.
It's fine.
It is a little bit annoying from that aspect because there are a few girls, there's a lot of girls going out to Barcelona, not just from my squad, but other girls who are involved with Swindon as well. They moved it from the Forest Green game because I think the general consensus was they might get more of a take-up if they went to the Bank Holiday Monday. And, there was ideas banding around like we would parade the pitch and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, maybe even get our trophy presentation for the league. There was all these ideas, of which I've said to our committee, well, I've only got 2 players that are available on Easter Monday. So, I mean, that's a personal thing. There's nothing to do. The Her Game 2 is a lot bigger than just us, obviously.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's there's probably going to, all 3 teams have been invited to the game, and I imagine we're not going to have a massive turnout because it's Easter bank holiday Monday, so everybody's away, and rightly so. I mean, like I say, the first team are now technically on close season, so yeah, it is a shame, but it's better than not doing anything at all.
Yeah, absolutely. One sort of bit away from on the pitch matters that I just thought it was adequate timing. I joked earlier about the fact that someone at the club must watch this because the minute we start talking about Parsons, he doesn't even make the squad anymore. I saw today.
He was poorly, apparently, though. He was poorly.
Yes, he was. We do have to say it's not because we mentioned it that he got dropped. That we hope anyway. But no, I did see today that Precision Football Academy announced that they're now working exclusively with STFC Academy for all to do with developing players, and they said how many players that have been contracted to the club over the years have been associated between the two. And I just thought it was nice timing, given that we spent the whole week debating youth development and stuff. So that was nice timing from them to carry that conversation on. But gents, thanks for sticking with us. The inquest went on probably a lot longer than we anticipated, but there were a lot of good points made. But we do want to talk Harrogate, and it's worth noting because regulars will know if there are 2 games in a short space of time, we will normally talk 2. However, we're looking to hopefully treat you all to a bonus episode this bank holiday weekend. So we're only going to talk 1 game today. Ben, to give Woody a little break, do you want to go first?
Yeah, Harrogate. Yeah, now you look at Harrogate and they had a fantastic start to the season, and they've sort of fallen off a bit of a cliff. In fact, it wasn't for the start of the season, you'd expect them to be struggling to stay up. So it is an opportunity to go down and arrest the slide of the last 3 games. Hopefully, our star boy is back in and around the squad. If he is, I imagine he'll come off the bench for the last 10-15 minutes. But even just his presence in and around the squad hopefully will be a bit of a boost. Yeah, it's a cup final, isn't it? It's one. If we win, then hope and belief starts to kick back in, and we go on to Orient with a bit of momentum. But yeah, we've gone about must wins before in the past. This one really anything but a victory, and it really does look lost. So
well, I mean, I said to a message I sent the other day was, whether you're looking in our WhatsApp group, if you're looking on social media, generally there's quite a negative defeatist mood around Swindon Town after the weekend. But if we get 6 or to an extent even 4 points over bank holiday, suddenly it's a different ball game again, and everyone's positive, and it's back on, and we're going to do it. And it's
well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Momentum kicks off with momentum does kick off with 1 win. It was just a manner of defeat, I think, which got choked everyone in Wolverhampton, because it's a last minute defeat that no one saw coming in a game that we all thought we really might win. We're 4 points behind 7th. Now we've got the game in hand. We win that game. If that game in hand was tomorrow, we won, we'd be a point behind the rest with 5 games left. And that's right bang in it. So we've got the opportunity just to hang on in there, but we've really got to kick into gear now. We've really got to find this form, and we've really got to sink our teeth into these games, and we've got to be best foot forward, and we've got to not die wondering. So let's go for it.
And a score prediction, if I can.
Me, I am going to agree with Craig and go 2-0 Swindon.
Okay. Woody, what are you expecting from Friday?
Not Ben's Brian Blessed impression. Me? He's alive.
He's alive.
Yeah, I was honestly listening all the way through that. I was also looking at Precision Football Academy to make sure it's the same one I know that are based in Oxford. Yeah, it is them. The
good research.
Yep. I do know them. I know they're the guys who run the courses as well. Harrogate. We're gonna win because me and Rich are going. We better do, otherwise that's a long ass journey home.
That's a long
it's a long yeah.
I really want to go to the tea rooms up there, mind. Apparently I've heard a lot about the tea rooms up there, so I wonder if I could convince Rich to to not bother going to the pub and let's just go to the tea rooms.
Which are tea rooms, as in like tea and cake rooms?
Yeah, it's like they got like a really famous one up there, like Polly's, I think it's called or something. Yeah, really famous. Everybody at work tells me about it. I'm like, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going out to Harrogate. Oh, you should go to the tea rooms. Okay, will do. Convince the lads that we'll go to the tea rooms. We will win. We're going to bounce back. We are going to win 4-0.
4?
Wow.
4-0. I reckon McCurdy will come off the bench with 20 minutes to go and will notch a goal. And Davison's going to get 2. And then if O'Brien plays, he's going to score as well. There you go. I'm going real accuracy with my prediction.
That would be bounce back. That would be bouncing back.
Yep, we'll do that, and then we'll beat Leyton Orient, and then everybody will forget about Newport.
Well, we'll do that. Everyone will think that everyone will give Vigouroux shit and the Town End, and Richie Wellens would do us 1-0 last minute, and Vigouroux would be doing knee slides in front of the Town End.
Oh, well, not.
Let's not dwell on that one just now. I mean, I have to say, I always try and look positive, as you know, and I equally am going to say we'll win. I think it will be 3-1. And that'll see us nicely into a bank holiday Monday where we'll all come back and we'll say exactly the same thing. It's a must win, blah, 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 blah. But no, I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. And let's just hope for all the travelling fans making what I believe is around about 220-mile trip each way. Is it something like
Long
that?
way,
Is it that much?
Harrogate.
Let me have a look.
Long way.
I think it's something
It's a long
stupid.
way, but-
How are you getting there? Anyway, Adam, you driving?
Rich is driving.
Oh, you can sleep, mate. You'll be fine.
Oh, it's 217 miles.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
have a
I didn't realise
kid.
it was that long.
each way as well.
Dream of
We
cream
better
cheese.
fucking win now, otherwise I'm going home on the team coach.
Dream of cream teas in Harrogate.
Gents, thanks for sticking with us for the whole episode. Thanks as well to Craig and Rich for their input tonight. It's worth saying, as we always do, if you'd like to join the panel between now and the end of the season, or if you're interested in joining it from the start of next season, because you'll all be delighted to know we are planning on carrying on again, then just let us know. Equally, we're starting to run some ideas about some post-stroke pre-season content. There'll be the similar sort of mashup of thought-provoking discussion and madcap chaos and quizzes, just to keep fans entertained while there's no football. If you have any ideas of stuff you'd like to see or like us to talk about, again, drop us a message. I'm sure we can sort that out.
Just like to say as well that I think everybody should be grateful that we decide to do a longer episode when fans have got to travel for 217 miles on Friday. So everybody's welcome.
We just used up 2 hours of the journey, so you've only got half an hour to go. So
And we didn't even talk about chocolate.
Yeah, nearly there, boys. Nearly there. Nearly there.
And girls.
And
Enjoy
boys
the
and
game.
girls. Sorry, my apologies.
Enjoy the game, everybody.
Yeah. Enjoy the game.
You read.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the new viewers stroke listeners. We got lots of comments that we're now a lot more visible on things like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and stuff. Our YouTube views have gone up a lot compared to other episodes this past week as well. So thank you all for your continued support. We honestly do appreciate it. But from me and from the rest of the panel, until the weekend, happy Easter, everyone.